to you today about 7 variables that are part of what determines your healing. I know many of us are on our own unique healing path and healing a multitude of different things in our life. And I want you to just consider the path that you're on and how some of these 7 different variables might be affecting your outcome or where you're at in your healing. So they may not all apply, but there's something to consider. The first that applies to anyone who's coming in to do emotional or energetic work, mindset work, and they're trying to heal on that deeper level is nutrition. And so there have been times in my business and my coaching career where I've actually not turned away permanently, but suggested that somebody who was looking for a deeper emotional healing actually come back to me later because there were some more nutritional things they needed to focus on first. So while nutritional healing for me only took me so far, it was definitely the foundation of getting my body primed and ready for the deeper work. And so especially with energy work, I find that you're most receptive to this style of healing and this level of healing when you're eating a healthy diet, when you're eating real foods, when you are not eating sugar and on a sugar high or downing caffeine all day, because all of these things and the things you put inside of your body affect your vibration and your energy. And so the first factor or variable that helps to or is part of determining our healing is the nutrition, is the physical part that we are putting into our body. And so if we can create a really strong foundation of nutrition that helps support our overall healing, we're going to see better results. The second variable to determine healing, or that determines healing, is a willingness to heal. And so, of course, if you're on a healing journey and you're like, yes, I'm on a healing journey, you're going to, at least on the surface, say, yes, I want to heal. That is what I desire, Sarah. But what we do not always realize or investigate is the fact that even on the surface, we do want to heal. There could be some secondary gain that we get from not healing that as a result keeps us stuck. So I relate to this in my chronic illness healing journey where, yes, on the surface, I was super motivated and super committed to getting better and to healing. But a secondary gain that I was unconscious of at the time was that there were perks and benefits and attention and love I thought I was getting by being sick. That was not an easy thing to confront in my conscious mind at the time. Now I've come to terms with that and I started to realize, I can get these things without being sick as well. But it's really important to make sure that our entire being is willing to heal and that there aren't secondary gains that might actually be in conflict with that. The third variable to help determine healing is simply time. So you have to commit your time, and part of that time is your energy and just your commitment to showing up of, hey, this matters. I'm here for this. I'm showing up and I'm giving my time to the healing process. If you are not willing to invest your time into coaching calls or homework or assignments or it depends on what type of practitioner you're working with. But if there's not time that you're willing to give, then that's absolutely going to be a determining factor in your healing. The fourth variable is toxicity and congestion in the body. A great example of this might be heavy metal toxicity. This is something that I have struggled with in my own body and own healing. And when there are this is also the root cause kind of category on the physical level. If there are underlying things, different co-infections, different toxicities like heavy metals, parasite infections, etc. in the body, those need to be addressed, and we need to release that congestion, release those underlying issues before the body can truly move forward and heal as well, which is also why I think it's a really beautiful and perfect pairing to be on the physical level working with a functional medicine practitioner, and on the energetic, emotional, spiritual level working with somebody who understands the language of the subconscious, so you can see real lasting change. The next variable is severity. So we all have probably numerous things going on in our bodies and in our minds and in our subconscious. And then within those numerous things, they each have a different severity or a different intensity. So we could even rate them on a scale of, 0 to 10. How severe is this? How much this is affecting you in your life? And trauma, that level 10 that you may have experienced, that can take longer to heal. So we want to also create expectations of the pace or the rate at which we're going to experience healing that are realistic and that are reasonable. And if you have been holding on to trauma for decades, well, yes, it's possible to experience some very immediate relief, but also knowing that that severity or of an issue may also require pulling the pieces apart and saying, okay, we're gonna, it's complex is what I'm saying. So, well, there's this part and this part and this part and this part that are all contributing to that intensity that you're experiencing in your mind or body. So we need to look at those 4 different parts before it's going to loosen and start to soften and eventually release from your being. What's next? Number 6 is sixth variable to determine healing is our emotions and mental frameworks and whether those may resist healing. And that is going to absolutely be a block to healing if there's resistance. But within this category, you can think of limiting beliefs. If there is a mental or emotional framework that we can see or think of maybe more tangibly as a limiting belief, then that's going to affect our healing process. So let's use an example. I have some digestive issues, and I also have on a physical level, and then on an emotional level, I have a really hard time feeling energy. I get very overwhelmed, and it's hard for me to digest energy around me too. And so I think I've got all these variables checked off. I'm ready to heal. But underneath that desire to heal could be a limiting belief that, well, I'm just highly sensitive. My digestion is sensitive. My emotions are sensitive. I'm just sensitive, and that's just who I am, and I will always be that way, and I'm never going to change. Well, there's 3 limiting beliefs in what I just said that could be the resistance to healing and could be the blockages to healing. So within this 6th variable are potentially tons of different limiting beliefs that are kind of made up in our emotional and mental framework that could be in the way. And how do we discover those? Well, we hire a really good coach who can reflect back to us and ask the right questions so that we can be the detective. And really, it's you discovering them yourself. It's not somebody saying, well, you have a limiting belief that XYZ. No, it's in conversation. All of a sudden, you have these revelations of, oh my gosh, yeah, I do believe that. And then lastly, number 7, a variable to determine our healing is that you may have not learned what you needed to learn from that thing yet. This becomes more obvious when we are aware of recurring themes, patterns, situations in our life. So it may happen in the relationships you're attracting and you feel like, different guy, looks totally different, same patterns, showing up again. Or maybe you are seeing recurring themes in, well, I thought that moving to LA or moving to San Francisco or moving to Sedona, Arizona, or whatever the physical location is, you feel like you're changing to find more physical healing in those different areas, but you're seeing the same problems travel with you. Okay, well, maybe you haven't actually learned the lesson and it's not about moving locations. There's a different lesson that you just haven't learned yet. And it's not going to go away until you get the learnings, which is what things like hypnosis and timeline therapy are so efficient and effective at doing, because the whole point is we get resources and we get learnings from our experiences. And that's part of why it resonates so well with me as a modality, because I think that no matter the level of darkness that you've experienced in your life, we can take that dark and we can shine a light on it in order to use it for our growth. We can turn shit into gold if we choose, if we make that conscious choice, and then subconsciously allow the learnings to actually cement into our being. Well, that's a whole different way of living our life if we make that simple choice. So again, to recap, the last one is that you may have not just learned what you needed from that yet. And until you gather those learnings, you're going to see those recurring themes, and people or situations or emotions especially keep showing up in your life. So I'd love to hear your takeaways and your feedback on these 7 different variables, and which one, if any, or a handful of them you feel like are affecting you most and your ability to see growth, to see transformation, to get to your next level on whatever it is, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that you're currently healing or working on healing in your life. And if this approach resonates with you, where we take some of these things that are seen as more shadowy, or some of us might not even want to talk about, or we avoid or we resist, and we take that shadow and we do say, I am not just a light worker. I'm not just any light worker who's going to like sprinkle glitter and gold onto situations and say, there we go, think positive, it's all good now. And instead, you're going to go into the darkness and you're going to feel the discomfort and the mud and the stagnation. You're going to feel that for a moment. And through that experience, you move through it and then allow yourself to shine light on it and allow yourself to illuminate the problem. Then my course, or it's actually an 8-month coach training program, it's way more than a course. Then that, if that sounds like it resonates with you and the approach that you want to take other people through as well as yourself, then Illuminated is absolutely for you. I'm holding space for you. I am here to answer your questions. I am here to encourage you and support you and give you a loving pep talk if you need it. But ultimately, this is for the people who are not afraid of the dark. Not afraid of the dark, because they understand in that darkness is the greatest growth, the greatest lessons, learnings, and ultimately their potential, sometimes the keys and the exact information they needed to be able to get to their next level. So if you want to go through that process and take people through that process, then reach out to me. Illuminated is open for enrollment and the tuition goes up at the end of this year. We start in February. Love you guys.